everyone, welcome to Gaia Tree Tarot. So today we're answering the question, how can I be a better partner? Now, this extends to not just romantic relationships, but also friendships, familial partnerships, business partnerships, any kind of relationship you could have in life. That is what we're answering today, and we'll just see what messages come up. I'm going to be using two different decks to distinguish between the partners. I will leave it up to you to decide which deck corresponds to you and which one corresponds to your partner based on the energies presented in each reading. So today we have 5 groups to choose from. We have Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, and Group 5. What you're going to do, if you're not familiar with picker cards, is you're going to pause the video and use your intuition to decide which crystal you feel most drawn to, and that crystal represents your pile. I will list in the description the timestamps so that you can jump to your pile, and yeah, that will be your reading. So if you chose group number 1, this is Red Jasper. This is your reading. So for partner number 1, I'm going to be using the Hermetic Tarot deck. I only have 3 decks, so I'm sure you'll notice if you watch a lot of my readings that I only have 3 decks. But work with what we got, right? Okay. We have the King of Swords, the 8 of Pentacles, the 3 of Cups, the Hierophant, Ace of Wands, and nice. Thank you for messing up my display, sir. The 2 of Cups. Okay. I want to arrange this. There we go. Something like that. Okay. For partner number 2, I'm going to be using the Wildwood Tarot. We have the 6 of Swords, the Page of Wands, the Emperor in reverse, nice, the Ace of Swords, 7 of Cups, and the 2 of Swords in reverse. So it looks like, sorry about that, I moved all the cards because I realized they were cut off at the bottom here, at least from what I saw in the video, so hopefully you can see them a little bit better as I put it out of frame again. Anyway, one of you guys is learning from the other one how to walk away from situations that don't serve you. And the other one is learning from, I'll call it, this is person A and person B. So person A is learning from person B. Sorry, person B is learning from person A how to walk away. And person A is learning from person B how to measure their words more kindly and perhaps accurately. I feel like maybe person A might be the kind of person who can be kind of harsh or overly critical or even argumentative. Or like sometimes, you know, we want to be honest, but some of us might have honesty confused with like brutality, or if I say something that's like kind of mean, that might be like that's honest and like people just can't handle the truth. And sometimes like, yeah, the truth is harsh, but I think the truest truth incorporates a sense of compassion and understanding and empathy with the other person, and because how you communicate your words is very important to how they will be received. And the ultimate goal when telling the truth, I mean, I guess it depends on who you are, but my goal when I'm telling the truth is to help the other person. And you can't help them if you offend them or make them feel criticized or defensive. So I guess that's an important thing to keep in mind if you're person A. I think that person A needs person B to either put in more work or put in more boundaries. It's kind of like one of you is teaching the other one what they want or where their boundaries lie, and also like how to be committed, like how to stick around, and then the other one, person B, is teaching person A to have more fun and take things a little less seriously while also being passionate. And it seems like maybe one of you is more pragmatic or practical and the other one's a bit more like ambitious or impulsive even. And so I think you're learning from each other in that way. You're perhaps bringing together those skills. So one of you is teaching the other one how to be more hardworking, and the other one is teaching the other one how to be more excited and passionate about the work you do. So I think that if you're person A, person B just needs your friendship sometimes. Like, I think maybe you might want to offer them help by offering them the truth or offering them like constructive criticism, but sometimes that's not needed. Person B just needs you to be there and listen and just be a friend, if it is possible and appropriate for you to do so, or whatever, you know, the terms of that, like if this is like a business partnership, whatever that looks like within that, whatever boundaries you feel comfortable regarding that situation. And if you are person B, person A, I think also kind of needs you to consider their point of view. I think you might be like this is so far is kind of giving me the impression that one side can sometimes like be a little bit harsh in the way they communicate their truth, And I think like that makes the other side feel kind of defensive and almost shut down. But when we shut down, like, just because the truth that a person is communicating is harsh doesn't mean there's not a grain of truth to learn in it. Like, there's not a grain of truth in it to learn from. And so I think, like, it would be helpful for person A if you could acknowledge the grain of truth that is in what they are saying. So, I mean, it's sort of like meeting halfway and reconciling your differences. You know, one side can be a bit more compassionate and kind and sympathetic even towards the other person so that they feel safe enough to be open, and then the other side can also learn from what that person has to say and really like the heart of what they're trying to communicate. Because I imagine you're trying to help when you offer constructive criticism, whether or not it's warranted or needed. I think also to just be careful that you're not accepting things that aren't true as well. And I think that might be something that if you're person B, that's something you might be afraid of. That might even be because like one side could be gaslighting the other side and not recognizing it. That might not be for every case, okay? But it could be for some of them. Use your own discernment, obviously. But if you are being gaslit, that might be why this person needs you to put in some more boundaries. And that also might be why you feel unheard. If you're person A, one thing I think that you can do to be a better partner is to just approach the way that you communicate with a bit more wisdom and acknowledgement of how it's going to be received by the other person, so that it actually does, so that the information you're communicating actually does what you want it to do, and it actually helps, instead of making the other person feel, I guess, like criticized or shut down or defensive. And if you're person B, again, this is seeing the truth in the situation, whatever that may be, whether it's like, again, for some of you, just some, not all, this person might be toxic, so that might be the truth that you need to see, is that this person just isn't good for you and I need to move on. However, for some other of you, like, I don't think that, take that if that resonates, because just because you're having conflict with a person doesn't necessarily mean that they're toxic and that you should just throw away the relationship. Really use your best judgment with that. Like, you know, protect yourself, put in those boundaries if you need to. But also still see that the reason why they perhaps come across as very harsh is because, you know, maybe one of their love languages is, they show love through communicating truth. Or, I mean, like, if this isn't, like, again, if this is more of like a business partnership, like, even in that way, like, love might be a weird word to use there, perhaps. Though you can definitely, like, have a love for your coworkers, and, you know, it exists, I think. It's its own thing, right? But, like, yeah, just, like, this person means well. I think also communicating your truth to them might be helpful. If you just tell them, like, you know, when you say things this way, it hurts me. I think that your ultimate goal is to, you know, help me do this, or, you know, you're trying to be helpful, but it's not coming across as helpful. I would appreciate it if you could communicate in this way, or if you could, like, you know, not say this particular thing, or if you could, you know, just be a little bit more considerate of that I have that need, because I you know, and if that person is reasonable, like, I think that that conversation would go well, and they'd be like, okay, yeah, like, I can adjust a little bit so that I didn't mean to hurt you, obviously, or whatever that may be. And if they start blaming you for the way you're feeling, then that is probably a red flag. If you are person A, your partner needs you to show that you care more, and show that you, I mean, if this is a romantic connection, or, you know, intimacy is involved in the dynamics of this particular connection that we're asking about, being more open with that intimacy is something that I think your partner would really appreciate or really needs from you. Or whatever that intimacy may look like. You know, intimacy can take different forms. Sometimes it can be like, you know, physical intimacy, but sometimes it can also be like intellectual intimacy, or sharing your deep thoughts and opinions, or even just telling them how you feel about them can be a form of intimacy, a much needed form of intimacy, or telling them that you appreciate them and that you care. I think might be a helpful way to feel closer to them. And yeah, if you are person B, your partner, this is an interesting one. It needs you to consider your options. This might be a dynamic where, like, one partner is always at work, or is often busy. I mean, person A is often kind of busy, and this leaves the other partner feeling kind of left out, or left in the dust, or sad. But I think that, like, one thing that person B could do to help themselves through the situation is, I mean, first of all, acknowledge that, like, you know, perhaps person A does care, and they, you know, they want to be there more, but it's just sort of like circumstance. I'm sure you probably already understand this as well. Like, you can understand the logical reasons why. But consider your other options of things that you could perhaps be doing with your time that would make you feel more fulfilled, that you don't necessarily need this other person's affection or attention in order to feel fulfilled. That can be kind of a hard place to get to, but, you know, there are plenty of other things that can make you feel just as good as when person A tells you how much you mean to them. Find those things. And I think that would help person A feel a little less, well, I don't know how person A feels, but I imagine they might perhaps feel like either bad or even suffocated. You might be deciding, person B might be deciding whether or not to stay or go. Might, you know, take that if that resonates. Or you might just be kind of like trying to decide, person B might be just trying to decide what actions need to be taken next in order to help the relationship grow and flourish. And be, you know, I feel like this might be kind of like a rough patch. So kind of how to, like, work through this rough patch. If you're person A, I think acknowledging, well, I mean, we've already talked about, like, acknowledging the other person, and choosing the relationship, like, choosing to dedicate your time and your energy and your emotions to this connection. Whereas person B, I think it's just a matter of being a bit more discerning about what you let take your attention, like what you choose to focus on throughout. Yeah, and I mean, like, what you choose to focus on for you. You know, like what you choose to focus on in your time with yourself or in your own thoughts. So that is all I see for you, Pile 1. I hope you enjoyed your reading. I hoped it was helpful. Let me know in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye! If you chose Pile 2, this stone, this is a piece of red carnelian, or maybe just carnelian, I don't know. But this is your reading. So again, like in the last group, for person A, we're using the Hermetic Tarot, and for person B, we are using the Wildwood. So I'll let you decide for yourself which person you are, person A or person B, based on how the energies present themselves in the reading. Yep. So, we have the Five of Cups, the Emperor in reverse, the Six of Pentacles in reverse, the Knight of Wands, the Six of Wands, and the Four of Swords in reverse. So Six of Wands in reverse, Four of Swords in reverse. Okay. Cool. Oh, we have FIFA that. So right then, the Lovers and Justice just kind of fell out of the deck. I don't know if that means anything to you, but I thought I'd throw that out there. Okay. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Ooh. Ace of Cups. Nice. Huh. Does it go upright or reverse? I guess it goes reverse. Okay. There might be a truth to this relationship that you don't want to see. I'm just gonna, maybe. Knight of Cups. Queen of Cups in reverse, and the Page of Swords. Okay. Alrighty. So we have person A here and person B here. Person A you're really, how do I put this? You're really like diving into your own self-pity here. And kind of like figuring out what you're learning from this person is like, they're reflecting to you the ways that you don't feel good about yourself. And so that you can do something about it. Or the ways that you don't feel like you're enough. Maybe you might put this person A on a pedestal and really admire them. But I think the lesson you're learning here is how to like, is realizing that nobody is above you and nobody is below you. We are all human. We are all good at things and not so good at things. And as much as the world might try to tell us in different ways that, you know, you're more worthy if you have this thing, or if you look this way, or if you act this way, it's just simply not true. Okay? We all shit brown and bleed red. That's just that. And you might really, you know, and not to say that you can't, you know, admire people and look up to them and love them a whole lot, but nobody is perfect. And there is no perfect person just for you. There are many people who are for you, and ultimately you are the one who is for yourself. I don't know who needed to hear that, but somebody does. And from, if you are person B, from person A, you are learning how to take a chance, how to take a chance on new opportunities, despite the fact that you might not know how they'll turn out. And how to have, kind of like, believe in yourself, have faith in yourself, have faith that things can work out. It could also be, you know, not to take these things for granted. It could also be to not take people for granted. You know, take what message resonates for you. But you, if you're person B, it might be learning, you know, not to take person A for granted. And to really acknowledge and embrace every part of a relationship, whatever that may look like for you. So we'll start here with person A. I think you expect person, this is interesting, you expect person B to have a little bit more of a backbone. Or like, you expect, you maybe had hoped they would be a little bit more determined, or like wanting to like pursue you, perhaps, or even a little bit more passionate or ambitious about, you know, life, or like life in general in their field or whatever, or you know, whatever, however that works out for you. And on person B's side, I think that you would wish person A would communicate their desire to you, whatever that be. This is a very interesting dynamic you have. I feel like this is probably a romantic connection, but maybe it's not. So this might be a situation where like person A really likes person B, but person A is too afraid to tell person B because they don't think that they're good enough for person B. But I think person A just really needs you to communicate that you have feelings in the first place, or what your feelings even are, what your intentions are. Because otherwise they're not going to know, you know, unless you say it straight in words. It's also the best way to, like, communication is essential to any relationship. So if you don't say it, they won't know. And they're not going to guess. So person A is learning from person B how to give and take properly. Because it looks like there's an imbalance, you know. They either, person A, I feel like might be giving more than person B is, and they feel like they wish that person B would give a little more. But it might also be the reverse, that like person B is giving more than person A is. No, with here, like, don't take them for granted. Like, I think that, yeah, person A is probably the one who's perhaps feels like they're giving a little bit more. Maybe they resent person B a little bit. Yeah, I feel like person A is a very, like, nurturing kind of person, and person B might take it for granted sometimes. And I think that's also here why Judgment is here in reverse. I mean, Judgment is like, we have one other major arcana. We have the Emperor here. But other than that, that's the only two major arcanas we have. It's one of the two. And in reverse, Judgment can talk about there's a truth that you don't want to see. Because upright, it talks about reconciling for that truth. It talks about going into like a deep, not quite like the Hermit. The Hermit is kind of like solitude, but it's going into a deep state of pensiveness, really like thinking about, I think in this case, like what you have, and like the ways that this person gives to you, and I think really appreciating that, like that might be the truth that you need to see, is that like this person really gives you a lot. So I also wanted to point out we have two knights here right on top of each other. One of them is the Knight of Wands, and the other one is the Knight of Cups. I think if you're person B, person A really needs you to be a bit more openly loving and honest about like what you mean to them and how much you care about them. Show your emotions a little bit more. Tell them how much you appreciate them. The Knight of Cups is usually somebody who's very dreamy and romantic. So if this is a romantic connection, definitely be a bit more romantic if that's, or your version of it, you know, like if that's something you want to do. I think that person A would really appreciate that. And if you are person A, I think person B needs you to be a bit more open with communicating your wants and needs, and be a bit more like direct about it. I think that would be really helpful, because, you know, maybe like you feel sort of left out in the cold, or like you're not good enough simply because, or like your needs aren't getting met simply because you haven't communicated those needs. And if you don't communicate those needs, the other person will simply not know to meet them. But then that leaves you feeling like you're not good enough, or like you do all this and this other person like barely reciprocates. And it's like, okay, well, what does reciprocating look like to you? And can you put it into words so that this other person knows, like, hey, when I cook dinner, like, I would really appreciate it if you, like, I don't know, washed the dishes after, or thanked me, or complimented my meal. Like, I mean, you know, obviously you would want that person to say those things because they actually wanted to, and, you know, asking almost makes it feel less genuine, but it doesn't have to be less genuine just because you asked for it. If it's Valentine's Day, like, asking specifically what it is you want for Valentine's Day so that your partner knows is huge to actually getting what it is that you want for Valentine's Day, rather than waiting, letting them get you what they're going to get you, and then being disappointed because it's not what you wanted. you know, something like that. If this is a romantic connection. If it's not a romantic connection, then that's not applicable. But I feel like it could be for a lot of people. But having that sort of energy with it, just communicating what it is you want, what it is you need, what it is you desire, so that the other person knows. And if your person B, also being more open with your emotions and letting the other person know how much you appreciate what it is that they do for you and not taking them for granted. Okay, so piggybacking off what I just said there, these cards kind of confirm that. It's like person A needs to be person B, if you're person A, person B needs you to be a little bit less withholding of your emotions, or withholding of like your compassion even. And if you are person B, person A needs you to be a bit more forward with your communication. And finally, take this if this resonates, okay? I mean, not for everybody. Person A might threaten to break up with person B. This is kind of petty, honestly. But maybe this is you. I don't know. Sorry to call you petty. Person A might threaten to break up with person B, but it's kind of like a false threat, which is also very manipulative. Like, this might be a kind of relationship where it's like very on again, off again. So I think really assessing like who you are and what it is that you want from this connection, or if you really want this connection, or why it is that you want this connection, regardless of which side you are, is important to determining whether or not you want this connection to last, and also not manipulating people with the threat of a breakup. That's not cool. Not at all. You know, if you're really thinking of leaving, you know, then leave. But don't leave and then come back again, kind of thing. Or if it's like, you know, maybe you genuinely want to like break up with this person, you break up with them and then you realize you miss them, or you end up getting back together with them. Why do you keep getting back together? You know, why are you continuing with this cycle? You know, not to say that things can't work out with you. They could. But I think it you have to be committed to them working out. And you have to be willing to work out, both parties have to be willing to work together to work out whatever issues are standing in the way of the health and longevity of this connection. And if they can't do that, then it's not going to work out, unfortunately. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. That's all I see for you, pile 2. Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, if you chose pile 3, this piece of quartz with traces of garnet in it, this is your reading. So, like for the other piles, we're going to use the Hermetic Tarot deck for person A, and we'll be using the Wildwood for person B. And I will let you decide which person you are, person A or person B, based on how the energies present in this reading. We have the High Priestess in reverse, the Ace of Wands, and the Two of Wands. The Fool, Ten of Cups in reverse. And the Emperor in reverse. Funny. The Emperor in reverse has showed up in all three of these readings. I mean, so far. That's very interesting. I don't know. It's probably not related. The Emperor in reverse can also talk about somebody who's emotionally manipulative. So watch out for that. You know, take that if that resonates. It doesn't have to be. You know, but I don't know. There are a lot of emotionally manipulative people in this world. We have the King of Cups in reverse. The Two of Pentacles in reverse. The Tower in reverse. The Ace of Swords. The World. And the Queen of Cups. Okay. So person A is learning from person B how to trust their intuition. And person B is learning from person A how to trust their emotions. And also perhaps not to be or I feel like person B could be the emotionally manipulative side. If there is emotional manipulation going on, that might be person B. So I think that person B might be a very passionate, is passionate the right word? They have a lot of emotion. They have a lot of fire, like fire emotion. They could be a fire sign, they could be a water sign. They probably have one or the other in their chart, honestly. But, you know, if they don't, that's fine. It might not be the case. But it's almost like with challenge here, and the fact that it's in reverse, it's like person A expects person B to want to argue, and person B expects person A to go along with that argument. That could resonate, that might not. This might also be like debating, like if it's more of like a friendship or a work relationship, like maybe, you know, you're in the break room with your coworker and they want to debate with you about something that maybe you're not entirely comfortable debating about, in which case you can say that and be like, or maybe just like that's just your relationship, like that's sort of your rapport with each other. It's like you enjoy debating certain things or talking about more controversial issues, and or not controversial issues, like you just, that's how you communicate. So person A, I think, can be a more supportive partner by choosing what is important to them, by respecting their own needs and wants and boundaries, even if the other party crosses it. Like if the other party is crossing your boundaries, then communicate that, and if they don't respect that, then I guess you can't make another person respect your boundaries. It's kind of like, you know, you have your yard. You can make up your rules for you know, the people that come into your yard, what, you know, you can make up the rules that they have to follow while they're in your yard, but you can't make them follow those rules. And if they don't, you have every right to ask them to leave. Or, I mean, that's a metaphor, obviously, but, you know, if this is a work situation, you have every right to say, like, hey, dude, I don't want to talk about that at work, or I don't really feel comfortable debating this issue with you, or, like, I don't feel comfortable talking about that. If this is a romantic situation, or even a friend who seems a bit argumentative, or always looking for something wrong to, like, fight about, like, you can just simply not engage. It's hard. It can be hard sometimes to just not engage, depending on the dynamic. Like, especially if you're living together, like, maybe walking away only goes so far, especially if the other person's gonna follow you into the other room or whatever. You might be in that kind of situation. That's why I say it's really a difficult situation for either side. If you're person B, I guess, like, maybe both of you might be considering ending things, or consider ending things if it really is that toxic. I imagine that probably really hurts both of you. And there might be kind of like this cyclical, like, loop, this thing happening in your relationship where things are good and things are fine, and then all of a sudden, like, you start fighting and fighting and fighting, and you just don't stop. Or also hearing, like, letting go of, like, that belief, the beliefs that are making you believe that relationships have to be war. I think that's really what this tower is about. This tower talks about, upright, it's like the rug being pulled out from under you. In reverse, it's like this is happening, but you're resisting it. You know? It might also be that your person B is, like, going through a really hard time. And maybe just, like, going through a really difficult time. Like, you might not necessarily be, like I said, take it if it resonates, right? In the beginning, like, person B may not be emotionally manipulative. They might just be going through a really difficult time. And person A almost doesn't know how to handle it because it's a lot. But they want to be there for their partner and they want to be supportive. It's just hard sometimes. Like, maybe it's like a grief, like a loss, especially with the tower here. You know, person B lost somebody important to them, and, you know, the grief's really taking a toll on them, and thus it's taking a toll on the relationship a little bit. In which case, like, that can be really hard. I think maybe in that case, if you're person A trying to understand their grief, especially kind of with this Two of Wands in reverse, like, understand, like, I guess try not to take their grief personally, especially when, you know, sometimes when people are grieving really hard, they can act a bit erratically, or even, like, harsh or mean or angry or really sad, depressed. Like, there's an array of emotions. Dissociated, like, grief's one of those things, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. But yeah, just trying to understand that their emotions, if that is the case, aren't about you. And also maybe like using your intuition here and what you already know about them to like help yourself and help them through this difficult time. If you're person A, I think it's important for you to have hope and see a new beginning or see the possibilities. If this is a toxic situation and you're considering leaving, see the possibilities outside of this relationship if this person isn't right for you. If this is more of the grief situation, see the possibilities that, like, you know, one day the grief will end. And also, like, help your partner to see those possibilities too, as best as you can. You know, sometimes when people aren't ready to hear it, they aren't ready to hear it, right? But, you know, that's one way that you can be supportive, is to just encourage your partner that, like, it's okay that you're this sad now. It's okay to feel how you feel, and also to acknowledge that it's not going to last forever either. Like, both are true, you know? And if you're person B, person A really needs you to see the truth and to speak with clarity about what it is that you need, what it is that you really mean, what it is that you really want. And if that emotionally manipulative dynamic resonates with you and you're afraid that you're the emotionally manipulative one, I think just being very honest and open with the other party as well as yourself as to why you do that, and realize that you don't have to do that to get what you want, and to continue being honest with yourself so that you can grow through it and learn from your mistakes rather than repeating them. Almost like letting your pride down a little bit and just saying, like, you know what, I was wrong and I want to do better, you know? Or if you're grieving, I guess it's like, and this can be really hard with grief because it gets so dark, you know, you just can't see that things could be good again. You know, it's like you're in the middle of the tunnel and you know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but like it's so far away that everything's just black and you almost forget that, like, there's even a light, you know? But I think, like, keeping that hope and seeing that truth, even if you don't believe it in the moment, even if it's hard to see it, and I guess also, like, being patient with yourself, because if you're not ready to see it, you're not ready to see it. But, like, I think that would help your partner a little bit, just, like, not, and also help you. I think it would help your partner by helping you, really, is what it is. In either case, I think that if you're person A or your person B, I think that if you're person A, your partner, it would be helpful for you to acknowledge that you're unhappy too. if not, like, you might feel comfortable communicating this with your partner. Obviously with like sensitivity and compassion, you know, with the cups here. But this is kind of like when, no matter what's going on, like, it's okay to acknowledge that you're not feeling okay either. Like, especially if this is a grieving thing and you're just trying to be strong for your partner, it's okay to acknowledge that you're not happy either, and to take care of your needs as well. And I think that would also help, I mean, obviously help your partner to take care of your own needs and your own sadness, because they might, in either case, might not be able to do that for you. And if your partner A needs you to end this cycle, whatever it is. And I think it's one of those things that it's going to end when it's going to end. You know, you can't force the ending, but you can work towards it. So if this is a cycle of grief, it's like, okay, work towards the end of this cycle of grief. Again, in time, and it's also okay to acknowledge that grief, for whatever it is not a linear process. And although there is kind of like an initial like shock period for a while, you know, and that varies from person to person, it's okay if it comes back again and again throughout your life. Especially if this is a death of a close loved one, I think that grief counseling for yourself might be helpful if you can, you know, if you can acquire that. Because I think that a grief counselor would probably know more than I would, honestly, on how to best handle that situation and those emotions. And, you know, if this is more of like a romantic relationship, or even if it's like a coworker, like, this is sort of just like stopping, like, or if you're being emotionally manipulative, stop doing that. Like, or if you're, you know, trying to engage in some sort of debate and the other person doesn't really want to do that, stop doing that. Like, it's kind of that straightforward, just sort of ending that cycle of whatever it is that you're doing that is unhelpful. This could even be an addiction. Like, this could be an addictive situation where one person's an addict and one person's not, or it's trying to help the addict. So this could be ending, you know, ending that addiction. And again, whatever this ending is, it's a big ending and it's not going to come easily or quickly. I want to throw that out there. So it's not like you snap your fingers and tomorrow you just stop doing whatever it is that you were doing. It might not work that way. But ultimately, that is something that your partner needs from you. And, you know, if that doesn't stop, I think that person A is likely to draw their boundary and say, I'm sorry, like, this can't be anymore, whatever it is. Or they might even have to end the relationship, or, you know, and person B will probably be kind of sad if that has to happen. But I think that it's important for person B to acknowledge that there's a lot of wisdom to be learned here from these difficult experiences. I'm also sorry that you're going through a really hard time right now, whatever this is. And if you're person A, like, I know how hard it is to be supportive through your partner's hard times and how much that can affect you as well. So, you know, I think there's a lot of different ways that this could potentially work out. obviously because it's a general reading. But just make sure to take care of yourself too. Remember that you matter, and that you deserve somebody who's gonna, how do I put this? You deserve somebody who is going to be able to be there for you as much as you can be there for them. So yeah, that's all I see for you, pile 3. I wish you the very best of luck. Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye. Okay, if you chose pile 4, this piece of carnelian, I have 2 pieces of carnelian, but this other piece of carnelian, this is your reading. So, like all the groups, we are using the Hermetic Tarot for person A and the Wildwood Tarot for person B. I will let you decide which person you are based on the energies and how they present in the reading. So, yes. Let's see here. We have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Three of Swords in reverse. We have, here we go. 7 of Swords in reverse. Ooh. 7 of Cups in reverse. 8 of Swords. And I'm going to take this one. 10 of Swords in reverse. Nice. And for person B, we have the Knight of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, the deck upside down, probably not, the Knight of Cups in reverse, the Queen of Pentacles, the Sun, and the Two of Pentacles in reverse. And also, as I put this deck back, these two popped out, the Star and Strength, which is a good sign. It talks about having hope and strength and compassion for whatever this situation may be. So, I thought I'd share that. So, it looks like that you were both learning from each other how to work for it, like how to work for a relationship, how to put the effort involved to make something last. In person A's case, this is when you feel like you're working for no reward, when you put out all of this energy but get nothing in return, making sure that that is balanced. I think you're learning from this person that, well, I guess we'll see how the rest of the cards, but it's something to do with that, balancing how much you give and how much is given to you. And with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse here, I think you're learning, person B, you're learning from person A how to give back. I think that perhaps person A might have been taken advantage of before in past relationships, and I think that this person's kind of trying to learn to trust again. Especially with the Three of Swords in reverse here, it's almost like you expect person B to hurt you. Whether or not that's actually going to happen is up for debate, but I mean, like, humans are imperfect, so chances are good they might hurt you in one way or another at some point in the future, with or without trying. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they mean to, and just because a person, like, it depends on how and why a person hurts you, and if they're, more importantly, if they're willing to do something about it, own up to it, change that behavior, because that is key, you know. If they're not, then that's the problem, and they continuously hurt you in the same way, even if they say they're sorry and then they keep doing it, that's a problem. But which I'm sure you know quite well. And I think person B almost knows this about you. Like, they know to expect that you're not gonna take this new opportunity easily. That's a weird way to put it, but like, that you're kind of difficult to open up. Like, you don't open up very easily, and I think they understand the reasons why. At least some of them. They at least have an idea, depending on who this person is, and how well they might know you. I think that person A can be more supportive by acknowledging the ways that they are perhaps holding on to past hurts and applying it to this person. And person B, I think, can be more supportive by not being so blinded by their romantic feelings for this other person, and acknowledging that maybe they're going through something, they're still healing, and they will come to you when they are really ready. You know, not trying to like force anything on them, not that you are, but like, or just sort of like going with the flow of what this other person is ready for, and if they're not ready for it, then they're not ready for it. But yes, communicating about those things as well, which I believe, I feel like there has been some communication at the very least, about, you know, these fears and these past hurts. I think that person A, again, going along with this Seven of Swords, kind of a similar message here, just don't deceive yourself in thinking that, you know, this new person is going to hurt you just because everyone you've been with has hurt you, and that's all, the only pattern that you know. I think especially with these two cards coming out as like the Star, like, believe that there is hope, and have the strength and the courage to believe that there is hope, that not everybody is the same. Not everybody is going to hurt you. And you can still be patient with yourself in your process as well. And for the person B, I think being stable and secure and following through on what you say you're going to do, even if it's a little promise. I think just being like supportive and understanding and nurturing of this person, and also matter of fact with that too, is kind of like, you know, being realistic about what you can expect from this person given the state of mind that they are in, while still being sensitive to that state of mind, you know. I think that person B just wants person A to be happy. And I think that's something that person B might want to tap into, that energy of like, I just want them to be happy. And I think person A needs person B to know, which, I mean, like, the only way to do this is to communicate, but needs person B to know that they are going through a hard time, and like their emotions and the way they're projecting them might not have anything to do with this person. And, you know, maybe as much as person B might really want person A to be in their lives, person A just might not have the capacity for that right now. And that's okay. But I think that, you know, or at the very least, like, I think conquering your fears is a process, and it's hard. And especially when you've been hurt so many times before, learning to trust again, it's really scary. But I think the sun being here is a good sign. Like, this person wants to do right by you. Like, they want you to be happy. They want to support you. They want to be there for you, even if, you know, you can't see that. And, you know, while being discerning is important to your own protection, and not letting, you know, the same things happen again, and people come in and you know, I imagine you've had some difficult past encounters, and learned some really hard lessons. I feel like for some reason, for some of you at the very least, this might even go all the way back to childhood. Like, this doesn't have to be necessarily a romantic relationship, and it doesn't have to be like romantic past lovers that were the difficult lessons. Like, I feel like this could just be childhood lessons about the world and about who you could trust and how your parents treated you, that I think really made it hard to trust anyone. And I think that that's a really difficult thing to work through. And I think, you know, as much as this person might love you, love doesn't conquer everything. You know, like, really the remedy to this is love of yourself, and love of yourself is a skill that you have to build through conscious action every day. It's not something that just happens. So, and it really doesn't matter how much this person might care about you. That won't change until it's ready to change. But I think that there is hope here. I really think that there's hope here for something to work out. Okay. And we also have the world fly out. So, yeah, like, I think that you will conquer your fears one day, I think, when you are good and ready for this person. And, you know, I think that things can work out between the two of you, whatever working out might look like. You know, that's going to vary for whatever situation you're in. The future is not without its challenges, though. You know, I think that whatever person A is going through is going to have a really hard ending. There's going to be a lot of, you know, if you're in a battle with yourself, essentially, you know, a battle with your past demons, conquering them is not going to be an easy or quick fix. I think eventually, though, if you're person B, I wouldn't hold out for it, right? But I think that eventually this person will work through whatever it is that's plaguing them at this time, and either open their heart to you or be willing to open their heart. But I think ultimately, whether or not it's with you, it kind of has to be released. I think that's your advice here, which is probably not going to be an easy thing, because as much as you might want this person to be happy with you, they might not be. But ultimately, that's why I say tap into this feeling of, like, I just want them to be happy, regardless of whether or not it's with me, because I think that will bring out the best outcome, and you know, kind of free you from any potential outcome thus forward. Like, yeah, because you can't rely on another person to heal or to be ready to be in a relationship or to be ready to trust you. That is entirely up to the person themselves to make. And so you can only worry about yourself and love you and know that you are good enough on your own. And also know that it doesn't matter how much you love this person. They aren't going to change just because you love them. I mean, like, not in the ways I think you would want to or hope that they would. So yeah, that's all I see for you, pile 4. I hope you found this helpful and enjoyed your reading. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much. Bye. Okay, if you chose pile 5, this piece of raw red jasper, this is your reading. So, like all the other piles, we are using the Hermetic Tarot for person A and the Wildwood Tarot for person B. I'm going to leave it up to you to decide which person you are based on how the energies present themselves in the reading. Yeah. So let's see here. For person A, we have the 9 of Cups, the 8 of Wands in reverse. We have the 2 of Cups, 10 of Swords in reverse, 3 of Cups, and the 4 of Cups in reverse. Anyway, and for person B, we have the Page of Swords, the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, the 8 of Swords, the 5 of Wands in reverse, 8 of Swords in reverse, 5 of Wands in reverse, the Woof, throwing things, the World, and the Queen of Cups. So I think that person A is learning from person B how to be happy without them. This might be a person you don't talk to anymore. It could be, might not. It might be a person you talk to every day. Take it as it resonates. But you're learning how to be happy by yourself. Like, without their, like, not that they're not around, but just, yeah. And person B, if you're person B, you are learning from person A how to tell the truth and say what you mean what you say. And perhaps how to be a little less flighty or fickle. Yeah, you could be kind of maybe indecisive or not always know what you want. It might not even be indecisiveness, it might be something else like it. But yeah, so that's what you're learning from person A. Moving on. It looks like, yeah, it really looks like you guys aren't speaking at the moment, which, if you are speaking to the person that you're asking about, this might not be your pile. Or maybe there's a message in this pile for you too that's just not related to a separation of sorts. But anyway, because I see here that both sides, like this person, if you're person A, you kind of expect person B to never come back. And if you're person B, you don't really want to do the work involved to bring person A back into your life. So yeah. I wonder what happened here. It might be too that something had clearly happened. I don't know. If you were person B, it would be helpful to person A, even though they're probably not in your life anymore, or if they are, then it would be helpful for you to acknowledge and release your anxieties and your worries about this person. I think this would help you more than them, but sometimes the best way we can love somebody else is to love ourselves. The best way we can help somebody else is to help ourselves. Because when we suffer, the people close to us can suffer too because of that. And even though they may love us and try to support us through it, like really all they need from us is for us to just help ourselves, you know? And I think that would also, you know, like help you determine what it really is that you want, so that you can say what you mean and mean what you say, because you know what it is that you want. I see you don't really perhaps want to do that, though. But hey, that's on you, man. And for person A, I think that you can be more supportive by just being loving. And I guess like focusing on other partnerships, or partnerships in general. Like I think the friendships that you already have, or even this partnership, like I think you're doing all that you can do, or did all that you could do. And I think just recognizing what you've learned from that. And also on the possibility of love again, if that resonates for you. If you're asking about a love relationship, or, you know, that there is a possibility to feel those feelings again. Also maybe to communicate just how much you care about this person, if they're still in your life, if that works for you. If they're not, and, you know, they don't want to talk to you, then telling them that you care about them probably won't really do much. But, so, yeah, I think just accepting the difficult ending that has been, and letting it teach you, if you're person A. Clearly, I think, yeah. And for person B, to stop arguing with yourself, I think. Or arguing with the other person. And to keep fighting for yourself. Tirelessly. That's what I heard. You keep fighting for yourself tirelessly. Keep fighting to work through these insecurities that maybe caused you to walk away from this relationship, or are getting in the way of it, if it's still intact. So if you're person B, person A needs you to end this cycle, whatever it is that's getting in the way. I think you know what it is. Or to help yourself somehow. And if you're person B, Person A needs you to just be a friend. Just be a friend to them, you know, whatever that looks like, again, based on the context of your relationship. But just, you know, be there for them if you can, and collaborate with them. Maybe work on a creative project together, if that resonates for you and works for you. Or maybe you are working on a creative project together. I think that things could work out. I think that person A kind of feels like they're pouring a lot into person B. Or did they did pour a lot into person B. And I think if this ended, person B is learning some very deep lessons from this relationship about themselves and about relationships in general. Also about how to have compassion for people. Yeah, how to have compassion for, you know, this past person. And if you're person A, I think that you kind of feel like your energy was wasted. But it wasn't. I think that for both sides, you know, whatever happened, I think that there is great wisdom to be found in the ashes of it. Or if you're, you know, still talking, which I kind of doubt, but maybe, you know, this is still an active relationship. I think there needs to be some communication about the ways in which this person hurts you by not understanding themselves. And also just like a releasing and a letting go of the things that you could not control. I think that's ultimately it. If you're person A. Okay, that is all I see for you, pile 5. I hope that you enjoyed this reading and found it helpful. Let me know in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.